On the Overtoun estate near Dumbarton in West Dumbartonshire, Scotland, sits a quiet piece of Victorian engineering. This stone bridge, built in 1895 over a waterfall gorge, is completely unremarkable in its appearance. It has granite arches, low parapet walls, and fits perfectly into the pleasant surrounding environment. But since the 1950s, a terrifying pattern has emerged here. Dogs walking across the bridge have been suddenly leaping from the parapet. The drop to the shallow stream below is roughly 15 meters. It looks like a simple estate structure, yet it consistently triggers a behavioral glitch that overrides the basic survival instincts of the animals that cross it. These events are not random accidents. They happen repeatedly, and almost always from the exact same spot, a specific section of the right-hand parapet near the far end of the bridge. Approximately 50 dogs have died from the fall. Hundreds more have made the jump and survived the impact. Several dogs that survive that plunge have actually climbed back up to the road, run to that exact same spot, and immediately jumped again. Local councils have posted warning signs. Scientists have run active investigations. The local paper tracked the incidents. Hundreds of owners share the same story, watching their otherwise healthy, well-adjusted dogs suddenly rush toward the wall without any apparent trigger. This is a verified, highly documented environmental anomaly playing out in broad daylight. When investigators started mapping the data, clear patterns emerged. The jumps occur much more frequently on clear, dry days than they do in the rain or fog. The incidents also disproportionately affect specific breeds. Dogs with longer, more pronounced snouts and highly acute olfactory systems, like spaniels, make up the bulk of the victims. Other scent-tracking breeds, such as retrievers and Labradors, are also prime targets. This distinct profile leads to the most serious scientific explanation, the smell hypothesis. The undergrowth beneath the bridge is home to significant populations of mice, squirrels, and mink. Mink, in particular, possess scent glands that produce a powerful, musky odor that acts as a beacon for an acute canine nose. The theory suggests that dogs detect the animals below, become intensely focused on the scent, and blindly rush forward. They are so locked onto the smell that they completely fail to visually register the stone wall as a barrier. This biological mechanism aligns with the data. Dogs with longer snouts are more susceptible to the scent, and clear days ensure that the odor isn't washed away by the rain. But the scent theory has a notable geographic flaw. It fails to explain why the jumps are overwhelmingly concentrated at one hyper-specific spot near the far end, rather than distributed along the entire length of the bridge, where the smell would also rise. It also carries a major behavioral flaw. After surviving a near-fatal 15-meter drop, a dog's survival instinct should immediately override its prey drive. The repeat jumpers remain scientifically inexplicable. To fill these logical gaps, locals often turn to the supernatural. In Celtic tradition, the area around the bridge is considered a thin place, a location where the boundary between the physical world and the spiritual realm is highly permeable. These haunting legends are anchored in a dark, documented history. In 1994, a man in a state of psychotic crisis threw his infant son from the bridge. Some psychics consulted on the phenomenon have claimed to detect a strong supernatural presence stationed exactly at the jumping spot. While the paranormal lore lacks any physical evidence, the scientific explanations remain visibly incomplete. The definitive trigger for the jumps remains unresolved. What makes Overtoun Bridge genuinely compelling is that it proves a specific physical environment can produce consistent, fatal behavioral anomalies in healthy animals. The bridge functions as an accidental trap. It combines a low parapet structure, a deep vertical drop, specific weather conditions, and highly concentrated wildlife into a single lethal equation. Today, the local council's warning signs are still posted. The gorge is still 15 meters deep, and the mink are still nesting in the undergrowth below. But the victims cannot read those signs. They don't know the history of the dogs that crossed before them. They respond to an overwhelming stimulus. Overtoun Bridge stands as a stark reminder of how perfectly normal biological instincts can become consistently fatal when manipulated by the wrong physical environment. Next episode, Mao Zedong. He was the man who unified China after a century of profound chaos. He launched the Great Leap Forward, pushing the nation into massive manual labor campaigns. The direct consequence of that policy was the worst man-made famine in human history. He then initiated the Cultural Revolution, a movement that effectively destroyed an entire generation. He built a modern superpower, yet remains one of the most consequential and lethal figures of the 20th century.